Okay. No, I like it. Stop.
Okay.
All right. You can just start. So, what is your?
My name is Steve Begla. I'm the program coordinator for the East Hartford Shelter. I'm also the assistant director for forensic services for CRT Community Renewal Team. The East Hartford Shelter is run by CRT, which is one of the largest anti-poverty agencies in the Northeast. And the programs that CRT runs range anywhere from early childhood education, criminal justice programs, homeless shelters, assisted living programs, all the way up through elderly assisted living programs. So the East Hartford Shelter is a dry shelter. It's broken up into two different units. There is a 18-bed men's unit, and then there's a 25-bed family unit that takes single females, females with children, or single fathers. The stay for the men is 30 days. The women can stay, the initial stay is for 30 days, and then you can re-up for an additional up to 90 days. But part of that program is that they have to be compliant with the shelter, meaning the East Hartford Shelter is a dry shelter. There's no drinking, no drugs. You can't even make it in the door if you even seem intoxicated of any type. And also part of the program is that you have to meet with the case manager. And if you don't meet with your case manager or follow through with the goals in your case management, then you may be asked to leave.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is governmentally funded shelter?
It kind of trickles down through different funding sources, through grants. It ultimately comes through the town of East Hartford. Mm-hmm. It's the majority of the funding.
So it's mostly state, not federal.
It comes through, there's different streams, it comes through different, there is some federal, there is some state, there is some outside funding as well. There is not one stream of funding for the program. We also rely on donations as well to the program.
Okay. Do you think that there's enough funding going into this program?
There is not enough funding going into the program. The funding, not only is there not enough, but we already anticipate cuts for next year. So the need continues to grow, but the funding goes the other way and continues to decrease. So we have to be active as an agency to kind of find new and alternative sources of funding to keep the program up and running.
Mm-hmm. All right. And do you think that there's enough affordable housing being built for these homeless people to kind of transfer into getting their own?
There is not right now. The waiting lists are extremely long for housing. Sometimes you can be on a waiting list for over a year for certain housing markets. They have broken it down. There's housing for elderly. There's housing for single mothers and families, but all of the little lists are extremely long. Mm-hmm. In a waiting list, and it's kind of, it almost is like the lottery.
Yeah.
You throw out your application, you put your name in there, and you just hope for the best that you hop up the list in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, can you get the sheet? Other questions?
If there could be a solution to the problem of homelessness, what would be the most effective solution?
There isn't one specific solution. There's so many different factors that go into homelessness. So you have to look at the country as a whole. You have to be proactive. At the start, you have to identify people that are going to be at risk. And then the economy has to improve, the housing market has to improve, education has to improve. All of those things, you have to look at the entire system as a whole in order for it to even start to touch the homelessness.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that homeless people are just lazy, drug addicted, people that are living off of welfare, what would you say to those people that think this?
It's completely false. I mean, obviously, you do have people that are homeless that have issues with substance abuse. But now you could, look to your neighbors on the left and right of you, and they could be the next, homeless family in the shelter. There are shelters set up specifically for people that have trouble with substance abuse. But one of the biggest issues with homelessness right now are veterans coming back from the war. At the East Hartford shelter, we have families that have domestic abuse. We have families that are employed but underemployed, meaning that they make enough money to basically survive, but not enough to pay for their own type of housing. There are people that had good livings, but when their company closed or their corporation shut down, they weren't able to find work, but yet they had big expensive houses and then cars and kids in school, and they weren't able to pay for those. So right now with the housing market the way it is, the way the employment market is, anybody could be a paycheck or two away from being homeless.
Are there always enough beds in the shelter to accommodate all the people in need?
There are not enough beds. There are not enough beds in the greater Hartford area. We turn away an average of 5 to 10 people a night. Sometimes there are families that we can't accommodate. And it's hard when you have a single mother with 5 kids looking for a bed, and you just, there's no way for you to house them. The state has overflow beds where people get placed in apartments or hotel rooms, but that's very temporary and very expensive for the agency and for the state to pay for.
Is that it? I think that's it.
Do you think that people, the common people, people that live in East Hartford should be more responsible, or should the government be more responsible for maybe providing money for shelters in their own towns?
It could go. The people of East Hartford, there's not a shortage of people that want to help. There's a shortage of people that have the ability to help, especially in a poor economy. There are large corporations that were able to help in the past, make donations, but now even those companies such as Walmart and Sears and those large billion-dollar corporations that only have so much money that they can give out. It's about taking a step back and kind of looking at the whole system and who are we going to help, who needs the help the most, who needs immediate help, and who can kind of hold off on. And I think that's, the government was overwhelmed, caught off guard. They didn't expect there to be such, they didn't expect the housing market to crash as much as it did and as quickly as it did. I don't think people expected to lose their jobs, and as many people to lose their jobs. So everybody was kind of caught off guard. There's always people that are willing to help in East Hartford, but it's just, some people now can't make that financial donation to help anymore.
Yeah.
I like your shoes.
Yeah, I love that. They're awesome.
Really cute.
That's on tape.
Yeah.
And me walking by.
No, I think we got a lot of good stuff. I think.
Yeah, I think that's good.
That was good.
Thank you
Good.
so
That's it.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good night.